this program is sponsored by Newcastle County Government.
Welcome to Health and Self. My name is Ashley Thayer, and today we have a special guest with us, my longtime, 26-year friend, Cristina Colón. I call her Tina, so if you hear me say Tina, you know I'm talking to her. But Cristina is let me get this right, a 500-hour ERYT,
yes,
experienced, registered yoga teacher. So we are going to make a meatless, mindful dish. We're going to talk about being mindful, mental health, meditation, all of those kinds of things. Cristina, tell them a little bit about yourself. So you are not only a mama, but you own a yoga studio,
yep,
and a working mom, have a 9-to-5. How do you do it?
Well, luckily I have a really good support system. But I take a lot of time for myself. Every day I start my day with meditation. That's the foundation of my day. Without that, I don't think I would be able to stay grounded and be able to, manage my schedule and stay focused throughout the day. So that's a big component for me, but I also practice yoga, I journal, and I practice mindfulness, mindful eating, and all that stuff too.
Oh, that's so great. Okay, so awesome. So you're going to give us more tips as we go through, but first let's get started. So today we are making a veggie chili. That's what we call it in the Thayer household. It is a vegetarian chili. It can be completely vegan if you'd like for it to be, but let me show you what you are going to need for today's veggie chili. So you're going to need half of an onion, 1 whole red bell pepper, 1 whole green pepper, 1 clove of garlic. Then here comes all of the fun veggies, and you can get creative when you start to do this. About a cup of frozen corn, yes, frozen corn. About 2 cups of frozen butternut squash. Now this is really fun, a great ingredient, adds a little beefiness to our chili. 1 can of red beans rinsed and drained, 1 can of black beans rinsed and drained, and 1 can of diced tomatoes. I like to do low sodium or no salt added because I like to add my own. And then we're going to, of course, need some chili powder. I have about 2 tablespoons worth of chili powder in that little dish, and then some ground cumin to give you all of those chili flavors. Now, if you are a spice lover, you can most certainly add cayenne pepper, but we're wimps when it comes to spice, so we don't add cayenne pepper to ours. So let's get started. Cristina, I'm going to chop up the onion. Can you chop up a pepper for me?
Yes, please.
All right, and then we will start chopping up some vegetables and chat some more. So Cristina and I have known each other, like I said, 26 years. That is a long time. We met when we were, well, we won't tell what age we met. We've just realized that we've known each other, what did you say? More than half our lives.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So you have a son. He's a 9th grader, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my gosh, Junior is getting so grown. I feel like the last picture I saw of Junior too, he had a mustache.
He shaves.
Gosh. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the men in my family, they shave early.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So Cristina, in your everyday life, you said you try to practice mindful eating. Do you are you a vegetarian or a vegan, or do you try to?
I was a vegetarian for 2.5 years, but I recognized for my body, I needed some animal products. Not a lot, but some, to find balance and stay healthy for me. So I avoid meat, if that's. Meat avoidance is kind of more my style of eating now, but I do have meat in my diet, more fruits and vegetables. I don't think you can ever have enough, but I think mindful eating is, of course, eating well, eating whole foods, making sure that you're not constantly eating processed foods, and also being present when you eat? You know, how often do we sit in front of a TV as we scarf down, you know, a slice of pizza or whatever the case may be because we're busy? I think it's really important to sit at a table, to eat a meal, and to be present with your food.
I agree. I mean, that's even as a family, as a busy family with the 4 girls, and they all have different schedules and, you know, different practices. We try very hard to, first of all, we don't have a TV in our kitchen, but to sit down for, a family meal.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, and it just gives us time to connect with each other. But also, like you said, we're being focused on what we're doing. We're eating. Our bodies can digest. We're not rushing.
Absolutely, yes.
Eating. And I think that's one of the key things that, you know, people should understand when being mindful eating. It's not just vegan or vegetarian, but it's also, like you said, about being present. And that's, and that's a key that you can really take with you and be present all the time, in every moment, not
Absolutely.
just, you know, at mealtime. So, oh my gosh. So you said you journal.
Yes. So my yoga teacher training really focused on the 8-limbed path of yoga, which is, it's a lot more involved than just yoga postures and breathing, but it does include that, of course. It starts with how you live your life.
Okay.
And the foundation of the 8-limb path of yoga are the yamas, which start with ahimsa, which translates to nonviolence or kindness.
Okay.
So that's the foundation of yoga. So even before you get on your mat, are you being violent to yourself or others with your words, your actions, your choices? And then there's, you know, the yamas, the niyamas. Then there's asana, which are the yoga postures. Pranayama, which is breath work. Pranayama, and now I'm getting twisted up in my mind.
It's okay, because you're teaching us, which I love. So while you were telling us about that, I went ahead and turned on my burner to about a medium-high heat. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of olive oil. And, you know, one of my tricks, why do we use olive oil? It's a heart-healthy fat, so it's good for your body, for your heart, and it cooks really well, has nice flavor. But if you use your cap, it almost measures out to being a tablespoon. So that makes it a little easier so you don't have to dirty up one more dish. Okay, so I'm heating my olive oil, and we're going to add the onions and the peppers so that way they can start to saute.
Okay.
So you keep chopping away. So with your yoga training, so I mean, I think that's really a part of being mindful as well, is like you said, do you start your day off being kind to yourself?
Right.
And I think that's really a big thing. I mean, we have to, you know, be a little nicer to ourselves. Speak a little nicer to ourselves, say kind words, treat ourselves well. And part of that too, then we come back to the mindful eating. You know, eating fruits, vegetables, whole ingredients, less processed is being kind to your body and your organs. I mean, we only get one trip around this planet, you know. So one body to do it in. So you got to take care of it. I'm making a mess.
Absolutely.
As usual. As usual. What I tell you guys, hey, cooking's not fun if you don't make a mess.
Ashley definitely cooks more than I do.
Well, you've got a teenage son, so I mean, boys are different. My girls are like, "What are we making today, Mommy?"
Yeah. And Jasper actually does most of the cooking in my house.
Really?
Yeah.
He's the chef.
He's
huh?
the chef.
Oh,
Yep.
wow. I have to come down and get some of Jasper's food. Now, Christina's mother, so as we were growing up, Christina's mother makes the best food, and we would spend our high school nights when most kids were out like partying and doing whatever. We would all be at Christina's house eating arroz con pollo. I'm trying to think what else. Rice and beans. I mean, I feel like she fed us.
Yeah.
I never left your house hungry. Never.
My mom still loves to cook. She cooks every single day. And that's part of the problem. She never let me cook.
Okay.
And Jasper doesn't let me cook either. So I'm like, all right, you guys want to cook, I'll eat. You know, I'm fine with that.
Hey, well, look, you're here today and you're cooking, so then you can take this home and make this for your mom, make this for Jasper.
I'm looking forward to it.
Make it for Junior. You'd be like, hey, look, bud. One pot dish too. This is so this is a meatless dish. You could, if you are a vegetarian or vegan, you could add like impossible meat if you wanted to, or a meat substitute if you'd like. But I like to use vegetables to add more filling to it. Yep, go ahead and drop those right in there. And then once you drop all your red peppers in there, there's a spoon next to you, Christina, if you can kind of stir that up.
Okay.
And I'm going to throw the garlic in too. Starting to get very fragrant in here already. So you can add the impossible meats if you'd like. You can stick to the vegetables. That's also really good, like I said, very filling. Now the fun thing is that you can really get creative with the vegetables that you add to veggie chili. I mean, it's based on your flavor, what you prefer. I like to kind of make it seasonal appropriate too. In the springtime, I like to add peas. I also like to add, obviously, corn, butternut squash as we head into fall. That's always a good one. So you can kind of really get creative. I like to add mushrooms too. Mushrooms is another way to kind of give you a meatier texture in your chili without adding meat. So if you actually sorry, I'm gonna come behind you and drop all my trash. If you try to eat one meal a week that's meatless, it's good for the environment and it's good for your body too. And let's be real, saves you a little bit on your grocery bill, because meat, any way you want to cut it, is expensive. Okay, so while our peppers are going, I'm also going to add 1 cup of frozen corn. You don't need to thaw it out. It can just be completely frozen. You're just going to dump it right in. Now, sometimes in the summer, when we put corn on the grill, I'll save an ear or two, and then I will get it off the cob and then add it to, so you have like that charred flavor in the corn. So again, just adding one more element of flavor to your veggie chili. So that's going, you can really see it's really getting colorful.
Yeah.
And being mindful when you eat. I mean, you know, make your food fun, make it pretty. The girls like to make this too because everybody can kind of have a hand in the pot. Everybody can add a vegetable. Everybody can cut up something. Everybody, you know, so it's an easy one-pot dish. And it's fast.
And I like to add that it's a colorful dish, so you're getting various nutrients. Ayurveda is a sister science to yoga that says you should eat the rainbow.
Yes.
A variety of colors will offer more nutrients to your diet.
Well, you know, and that's, I mean, we tell our kids to eat the rainbow. You know, I mean, there's so many, you know, posters and propaganda, and kids learn that at such a young age. But then if we start to think as parents, are we really feeding them the rainbow? Number one, chicken nuggets are not on the rainbow, but are we also doing it for ourselves?
Right.
You know, so peppers are very high in vitamin C and folate and vitamin A, so they're very good for you. Onions and corn. So now with corn too, we're adding a little bit of our starch to it too. So you're getting some of the carbohydrates, but at a low glycemic index, so that way you can have the energy from the carbs, but your sugar also doesn't spike, which is nice. So if you have sugar challenges, it's great for that. All right, I'm gonna stir this up just a little bit more. Now, Christina, we're going to add our frozen butternut squash. So it's cut into cubes. Like I said, it's frozen. Everything will start to melt and get our seasons in together. You don't need to thaw it out. Again, just add it right in. Have you stir that while I go ahead and put this in the sink? Now, Christina, what is your favorite go-to meatless dish?
My favorite is actually a black bean salad that I make in the summertime, but it's nice for the fall as well. It's got black beans, cayenne pepper, corn, red pepper, sugar, lime, just a little bit of sugar to cut the lime. What else can I tell you about it? Oh, and avocados.
Well, so that's, and I mean, a lot of those same similar ingredients that we have here, you know, that we're making in our chili. So let's show everybody at home with this, how colorful this is. So we've added our butternut squash. You can see the corn, you can see the red bell pepper, you can see the onion, and the garlic is mixed in. It's so fragrant in here too. And the butternut squash is a great vegetable, but it has a mild flavor. So again, it's adding depth to your veggie chili without changing the flavor components and characteristics. Okay, so that's going.
That's good.
And now we're going to add our beans. So I like to mix it up. I like to add 2 different kinds of beans. I have 1 can of red beans and 1 can of black beans. My little sous chef, who's in the studio today, helped me open the cans, we drained them, and then we rinsed the beans. So when you buy canned beans, let's make our life easy and use canned beans, but you rinse away the additional processing ingredients to help them have a longer shelf life. You're rinsing those away. So red beans we're gonna add in. It's about a 15-ounce can too. And then I'm gonna let you add in the black beans.
All right.
You can go ahead and add those
Thank
in.
you.
And then you can give that a good stir. So we're smelling all of the peppers and the onions already. And we haven't even added any traditional chili seasonings yet. And it smells amazing in here already.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be good.
And I think that's part of, too, Christina, like mindful eating.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. When you sit down to have your meal, you want to smell the food. You want to be fully immersed in the present moment and engaged with each bite. You know, mindful eating is tasting that food when it's on your tongue and in your palate. So absolutely, the fragrance is the first step.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, so while you're stirring, I'm going to go ahead and add in, this is a 15-ounce can of diced tomatoes. And again, I like to get the no salt added because I like to control my salt content. So especially if you have high blood pressure issues and things like that, getting it canned but without salt added is a great way to do that. And all the tomatoes and the juices. I also like to get the petite, I guess it's called like petite diced. It's a smaller dice on it. But just because it's more there to add liquid to your chili. So now for the fun, we're going to add our dry ingredients and we're going to let this sit and simmer, and you're going to give us more tips on meditation
Yes,
and
ma'am.
mindfulness. So first things first, of course, salt and pepper. You cannot go wrong. Do it to taste. I like to do about a half a teaspoon because again, you have the flavors of all of the vegetables. You don't need a lot of salt. I mean, that adds the flavor to it. And then fresh cracked black pepper. Again, if regular black pepper, like in the container from the seasoning aisle, is perfectly fine. But there's something about the fresh cracked pepper that just adds an element more flavor. So again, about
really
a half
nice.
a teaspoon. So Christina's stirring. I'm gonna come on the other side of you
Alrighty.
and grab. So I have a half a tablespoon of ground cumin. Here we go with the true traditional chili flavors. Throw that in. And then about, I think I did a tablespoon and a half. When I cook this at home, I'll be honest, I don't measure. I just don't. So measuring it for TV is way different, but about a tablespoon and a half of chili powder. You can certainly add more if you'd like. If you want a stronger flavor, you can. But again, I like to have the flavors of the vegetables still there as well.
Yeah.
The other thing too, like I mentioned, you could, if you'd like, add cayenne pepper. And that would be optional and at your discretion.
I would.
Well, and even like when I've made it just for Dereardon and I do sprinkle a little bit in. But when the girls are eating it,
Right.
I don't. I mean, it's almost like I can put a little speck, and they're like, "Did you put cayenne pepper in there? Is it spicy?" I'm like, "It is not spicy." But if you like
Alright.
spicy food, you can add more in there. Okay, so what we're going to do, that's all mixed in. You can kind of see, looks really, really great.
Yeah.
Everything's good, and we're going to pop a lid on it and then let this simmer as we chat. The longer, I'll tell you, chili simmers, the more the flavors marry. So I've made this on a weeknight. You kind of assemble everything in about 10 minutes, and you serve it in about 20. Let it simmer for about 10. Or I've also let it simmer for about 2 hours. So it kind of just depends on what your time frame looks like or how early you need to eat. So we've got that going. That's ready to go. So Cristina, tell me about, as a yoga instructor, how important is it for someone to just meditate? Like a little bit, a lot? Like is it important for people to try to meditate?
I think so. For me, meditation is my daily practice. and it is one of the 8 limbs of yoga. So it's called dhyana, and it's the 7th limb. Dhyana is simply just being present and in the moment with yourself. So a lot of people are intimidated by trying meditation, and it's really simple, just sitting with yourself for 5 minutes. That's a good way to start. I think what happens is people expect that when they're sitting in meditation, it's just going to be no thoughts, or if they're thinking, they're not doing it right, and that's not the case. We all have busy minds.
Oh, yes.
And
quiet your body, your mind gets even busier.
Absolutely. So usually when people begin, we have what's called monkey mind. And monkey mind takes some time to kind of settle. But I promise you, if you stick with it, if you make it a consistent practice to sit down and just breathe, start with 5 minutes and then add time, your mind will settle, your nervous system will settle, and you'll be able to just operate from more of a rest and digest place rather than a heightened state of fight or flight all the time.
That's a great tip. I mean, 5 minutes, and I know, like you said, it could be intimidating to do 5 minutes. So should a beginner set a timer and just sit? Is there any special way someone should sit, or does the room have to be set a certain way for somebody to meditate?
Well, it is helpful if your room is clean, but you can sit on a yoga mat, you can sit on a pillow. I meditate in my bed. You could even sit in a chair and meditate. The idea is that you're comfortable, because if you're not comfortable, you're not going to meditate. You're going to sit there in your mind and think, I can't wait till this is over, So finding a clean space to just sit quietly for 5 minutes is a good starting place. But if you can build up to 10 minutes, 15 minutes, even 20 minutes, at a later date, then that would be ideal.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I mean, it really is, and I'll tell you, when I first started practicing meditation, it was a challenge because instantly your mind does start going, and then you're like, oh, I got to remember to do this. Oh, I got to remember to do this. I got to remember to do this.
Absolutely.
And I know, you as a working mom as well, but you teach this, so you have to practice what you preach. You can't
Absolutely
teach it and then not do it. And I tell you, that was one of the biggest challenges, was learning to turn off my brain. And I'm not sure if you told me this or another yoga instructor, but she said, anytime a thought pops into your mind, as you inhale, accept it. So, I have to go to the grocery store today. Okay. Breathe in. Yes, you have to go to the grocery store today. And as you exhale, you let it go. And I was like, oh, that's brilliant. And so that has helped me to kind of quiet the monkey brain a little bit, acknowledging the thought that pops in, because it's not bad, because everything that's popping into your mind, your brain is trying to say, no, remember, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, trying to keep you on track. But man, it's so good. So in addition to meditation, what are some other mindful practices that our average viewer can do at home?
So I like to start my meditations with a little bit of breathing. There's so many different breath work practices that you can use. And really what that does, it kind of just sets the tone. So it kind of regulates the nervous system and settles the mind so that you can go inward. And it's a really good way to begin your meditation practice. But the other thing that you can do that's really simple to incorporate into your daily life is simply practice being present, because 95% of the time we are on autopilot, and 5% of the time we are present. So making it making a commitment to be present as much as you can throughout your day will reduce anxiety and reduce, always being in the past or into the future. You're right here, right now.
Now, how much do phones play into?
Phones are huge. Phones are really a culprit in keeping us distracted and keeping us not present. I catch myself, when I start to check Instagram or Facebook because of my business, I need to stay connected to social media, but not let social media, take over.
Yeah.
So there is moderation, which is one of the yamas. It's Brahmacharya is moderation. So when you're not practicing moderation, you're out of balance.
Okay.
Right. So coming back to balance is really the whole point.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yeah. In trying to find balance in that. And so when we talk about balance, what they don't know, but I know, is that you also find balance in your creative world. And you sing, in addition to owning a yoga studio and working and being a mom, you sing. You want to sing for me?
I knew she was going to do this too.
I'm kidding. Okay, I won't put on the spot because our chili's almost ready. And we can eat. But yes, you sing. I mean, it's like you do it all, which I absolutely love. It's simmering away, which is really, really good. Oh my gosh, it smells so good.
Very nice.
Oh yes, and you can see the butternut squash is starting to break down too, which kind of adds to the thickness of the chili, which you start to look for when you start to remove some of the properties of like ground beef, or you remove there's like a Texas chili where you put like chunks of steak in. When you start to remove that, you start to go, well, wait a minute, well, what's going to replace it? I don't know if I'm going to like this. And let me tell you, Reardon, he is a meat and potatoes guy. And the fact that I can get him to eat this almost once a week, I think we've got a winner here. Okay, so what I have done is in the two bowls next to you, I have placed a little bit of plain Greek yogurt and some shredded cheddar cheese. You can use sour cream, you can use low-fat sour cream, no-fat sour cream, but I choose Greek yogurt because, again, trying to be just a little bit more mindful, you get a little bit more bang for your bite. It has all the same tangy properties of sour cream, but there's no fat, and has a little bit additional protein in it. So that's where, if you are a true vegan, I would maybe use like a rice cheese and then find another substitute for something creamy to go on top. But let me get us two bowls. Oh, let's see if I can reach up here. Oh. And we are going to eat.
Yum.
I didn't tell you I was going to feed you today, did I?
I was hoping.
Oh my goodness. So so we're gonna scoop some of this up. It smells amazing. Now, Cristina, you own a yoga studio.
Yes.
We are a Delaware channel, DETV. Where can our viewers find you? Where can they find your yoga studio?
So we're in Dover, Delaware at 1325 South State Street. And then you can look us up on tulayoganrp.com. And right now, because it is the fall, we're kicking off our yoga teacher training at the end of September. So if you need some more information about that, tulayoganrp.com, and you can give us a call if you have any questions.
Fabulous. Okay. Yep. Right in here in front of you are spoons. Grab a spoon.
Okay.
And you can top with a little Greek yogurt if you'd like. You can top with a little cheese if you'd like. I like to put a little, thank you very much. I like to do a little Greek yogurt. Just a little bit, just a little dollop. And then I'll let you add as much as you'd like. Yes, please. Cheese, please. I'm that person when you go to the restaurant and they say, oh, how much cheese would you like? And I'm like, just say when. I haven't said when yet. Keep going. Keep going. I'm being present in my cheese distribution. Okay, now it's going to be hot, but oh my god, I can smell it. It smells so good.
It does.
And we've got a big old pot for the crew and for everybody. So cheers. Chili cheers. This is our veggie chili. Here we go.
Oh my god. That's really good.
So good. So you can taste the peppers. You can taste the butternut squash. The corn adds a little sweetness, which I love. The different black beans and red beans. Again, just a little different consistency and texture. And then the butternut squash is amazing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So good. So, Cristina, I love you, my dear. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for teaching us about being more mindful and ways to improve our meditation. For more recipes and more episodes, check out selfsoulspace.com. We'll be back here next week, right here on DETV. Thanks for watching Health and Self. See you next time.
Bye.